Dynamite download.
AEW 2020, John Silver.
Special event, as you can see, SPD.
For a splashing good time. January recruitment month.
I come along, I come along in the ring.
I mean, I would not want to hear that. I would not. Oh, we got great this year at SPD. Weird.
It's Friday, yeah. It's Saturday, Sunday, but it's Friday, yeah. Welcome, everybody. You got SPD, Booking by Bonds. Crayfish might be a little bit late edition. He's celebrating. We're going to cheers to Mr. Crayfish, a successful retirement party tonight. So
Cheers,
he
Mr.
might join
Crayfish.
us near the end, but we just want to give him a salute to him. And we're going to kick things off, man. It was a bombshell week for AEW as a company. We saw so many different things. We saw an update about the video game, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. We saw new shows booked in my backyard. Literally today, when I was coming home from the beach, I drove by the venue of the September 22nd show, the U.S. Open here in New York City, Queens, New York. That's where I live, right? I'm in New York.
Excited.
And literally, it is 10 minutes. I can hop on the train. And boom, I'm right there. Plus, they got the Prudential Center one in New Jersey that they are rescheduling. I had tickets to that back in March of 2020. I still got my tickets on that. So some milestones to see some of that. We also saw MJF coin get released too. So I don't know if any of those any marks out there bought some MJF coin, but I know
You made some money if you bought some though.
Yeah.
That's
So
for sure.
what did you think of all the news that was released this week? Bonds.
Again, lots of stuff going on. First of all, congrats to Cody and Brandy and John Moxley.
Congratulations.
That's awesome on the new kids, the second generation stars or third generation in the Rhodes family coming in there. So we got a lot of stuff going on. We got some new wrestlers born every day. So it's pretty cool. But
wait, does Moxley have are they two ladies or two young?
I'm pretty sure. I have to check again. I've kind of been off Twitter this week. I've had a bunch of family in town for the last 2 weeks. So it's been kind of like,
I do think
crazy
Renee and Moxley had a little girl, and I know Liberty Reynolds, little Liberty, fitting for Cody's kind of gimmick going right now. So I do like that name. That is a nice name for sure.
It's perfect for the Rhodes family right now. Definitely with what they're doing.
Absolutely, And then it was kind of a surprise to see this. I'm not into cryptocurrency personally or anything like that. I mean, I do have a little Bitcoin just based on our friend recommending just putting a little money in, and I mean it's performing well, but I don't watch it. I don't know much about it. So this MJF coin stuff, like it fits him so well. It's comical, but if it can actually make someone money, that's a whole nother level to someone.
Then he becomes a face
gimmick. Yeah, like he literally is money.
Everybody fans of him.
Yeah, he is money. That is so crazy to me. Oh my gosh.
I know. It's like silly, but also it's perfect for him.
Yeah.
Just based on what he does as a character, it's hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
And that he's eating it up on social, always.
Right.
He's like him and Sammy had some spats this week too. So
those
he
are
doesn't
personal,
slow down,
man.
man.
Yeah, those were
Very
pretty
personal.
deep. Yeah, and we posted, if you haven't seen, we posted a little tweet of I did this little funny reface app of MJF singing with his little cat. I know Sammy saw it on our Instagram, but I don't know if MJF did or not. But if he did, I know he's not gonna say anything because he calls us the drizzling shits. Well endorsed here on Dynamite Download.
Oh yeah.
But I can't wait, man. I hope my schedule works out where can go to All Out early September, Labor Day, and then hit these two shows here in the Metro New York. I mean, they're going to be pure fire now that as of Tuesday, all restrictions have been lifted here in New York, which is great.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Some cool stuff going on that. I think that's why we saw that announcements, because once those restrictions got lifted, then they can finally confirm that. I know Citi Field in Queens is going to be full capacity if the Mets can actually fill them. which I'm not following too much about that, but I know like the Islanders games, they're in the final, the conference finals, they're filling up
That's a
pretty
big
good,
deal.
so which is nice. So I know, I mean, we kind of were interacting with people on Twitter, but the pop that Santana and Ortiz and Eddie Kingston are going to get, and even the Acclaimed, any of these hometown guys are going to get the biggest
awesome.
pop. And I mean, it seats 24,000. I'm hoping AEW Universe can come through in this beautiful venue. I mean, it is a beautiful venue. They did a ton of reconstruction and made, I mean, it's the US Open. I mean, that is like
that's
such an
deal.
iconic stadium. I mean, New York is such filled with iconic stadiums. Obviously at Madison Square Garden, Citi Field, Yankee Stadium, those are all iconic, but like the US Open, I mean, that's almost one of the pinnacle of tennis, that is. So pretty cool stuff out of that. And, as we're leading up to it and kind of interacting with people online, I know we're getting another tape show tonight, unfortunately, and the Dynamite Download Friday Night Flights and Fights time slot, typical. But I feel like some people, I agree with them that they're saving. I mean, this card tonight, we're going to talk about it, is fantastic, as always.
Right.
We're going to get some great wrestling and some great segments. But to really elevate AEW to the next level, I feel like they're holding off to reignite the Dynamite stick maybe next Saturday when they go live again. What do you think?
I mean, I think that we saw it with their last few live shows where they had fans.
Mm-hmm.
They really performed when the crowd was there. And
right.
We were kind of disappointed a few weeks ago in the show, the taped show. It kind of felt like an episode of Dark instead of an episode of Dynamite.
Sure.
And I think they kind of knew, like, okay, we're going to kind of just let it go for a minute, and then we're going to really deliver when we have the fans back. And I think that
right.
that's smart in a way where you don't want to like make any storyline that's a big time storyline kind of go peak or something when there's not a crowd there, especially now that they've had a taste of wrestling again. I think that makes sense.
It's hard to go full capacity pay-per-view home run and then just kind of like literally halt. I mean, come to like a crawl. You have literally fans almost on the ring, ringside, and AEW has consistently done a great job filling it with, friends, family, and other wrestlers to make it.
They
look
do a
full.
good job making it look full, but it's
of course,
it's different.
But it's just unfortunate timing with the NBA playoffs and the TNT deal moving forward. I don't think we're going to see any more of that. Thankfully, hopefully. I mean, looking into the summer, you're hitting the road with the Road Rager, the Fighter Fest, and all that coming out. All July they're on the road. Miami, Texas, Charlotte, North Carolina. I was still waiting for August stuff, but we'll see. But I mean, it's a great time to be part of AEW for sure. If you haven't read that Forbes article, it's really good Forbes article about AEW and Tony Khan. It really makes you proud to be an AEW fan and really want to support these people more and more and more because of their excellent roster. But tonight's show, it's such a diverse show too. I mean, you have so many. I'm just looking at this right here. There's not that I don't like, kind of carryover groups fighting multiple matches, but every one of these feuds is different. It's like a tree and everything is branched out because you have obviously Inner Circle, you got the Derby Men of the Year stuff, and then you got the Factory versus the Nightmare family. Like none of these are intertwined at all. No. And it's really cool. And we're seeing some new, Julia Hart making her Dynamite debut. I think she's going to match up really well with Penelope Ford there. And then Orange Cassidy, which is a surprising match against the Wingman or, Cesar Bononi. So let's start with the top, man. Tell me about Hager versus Wardlow. I know we put a poll on our Twitter. Who's going to take it? And, Wardlow's been in every single cage match there has been in AEW. And now he's the Mr. Mayhem, Mr. Cage match. What do you think is going to happen on this? Book it.
Oh, man. I was kind of on the fence last week, and Mike talked to me about this one a little bit, both of us, and was like, hey, this is Hager's like his town. This is where he's his home field advantage in a MMA cage match. This is, where he's going to shine. And
sure.
I think that's kind of how it's going to go. But again, I don't think Wardlow's ever going to look weak in a match. I think this is going to be a fun, different, unique,
of course,
thing going on, and I'm actually very excited about it just for that respect, because again, this is a tape show, and having honestly, I think having this on a tape show is going to be really cool because they'll be able to like get really good camera angles on it. I'm sure they're going to be able to do some different stuff with it. It's going to probably almost look like a cinematic match just based on like what they like to do. So it'll be a really fun. Is this the main event?
It has to be. There's no other. I mean,
I'm
this
assuming
100% has to be the main event. Yeah. I mean, they're doing a first,
so like
an absolute first in AEW. So it's definitely, to me, main event worthy.
Right. I didn't know if they announced anything first. So sometimes they'll announce the main event prior to the show.
Nothing announced officially, but.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Cause that like, this one, it should definitely be the main event. All I should be on it. I wish it wasn't happening at midnight, but you know,
that's the tough thing.
It's going to be pretty awesome.
I know it's like you put this 10 o'clock spot. You obviously want to get as many viewers, you know, casual viewers. Obviously, the diehards will be there bell to bell, but the casual viewers, you know, this should have been hyped up. This should be. I wish this was live because they could have done some cross promotion with Bellator, or they could have done cross promotion with like ESPN or anything like that. Like wrestling is getting. I hate to even say this. Wrestling is getting real, and you know, it's just something totally different. And I think it's almost getting glossed over it a little bit. It's almost like an after, like when Hager put the challenge out, I feel like there should have been more of a build. I mean, obviously, like the Road 2 did a good job, but they should have built this. It seems so special. This seems like such a special, unique thing that's never been done. I don't remember back in the day if Ken Shamrock did anything like that. Before.
I know there was the boxing thing in WWE a long time ago where they had the tournament.
This is super special. I think I wish they would have done more of a build. But yeah, this is like home court advantage for Hager. I know in Wardlow's unrestricted interview, he did mention wanting to fight in the future. Yeah. You know, didn't rule it off, but so this one, I book it obviously as Hager winning and keeping the inner circle momentum, but just because also you can't knock someone, have someone get a loss, especially being undefeated in MMA for real, like all that.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it'd be like when WWE had Ronda Rousey debut, and her first match was in a UFC fight, and they had her lose to somebody. It just wouldn't make any sense. You know, like you have to, you know, Hager's a stud, and it makes sense to have him do this. I hope they play into it though with the storyline. I hope that's kind of the thing. Like, oh, well, now you're trying to.
I can't wait for this because anytime. I mean, it's been the week of Wardlow, and he's literally murdered guys in the ring on Elevation and in Dark. Those guys literally no coming back from that. No, pretty much, and it's been impressive. And that's why we pegged him as our breakout star of 2021, and we know he doesn't get a lot of ring time, so it always feels that big fight feel when Wardlow does get in the ring.
Special.
I can't wait. I hope they have kind of like a fight entrance. You know, I don't know where they're going to do this. Are they going to have the cage in dailies, or is it going to be somewhere else, or are they going to just put a cage around the? I don't know, man. Like they got to do something where it feels special, and it's not just like a cage or like a typical steel cage and then just like MMA rules. I want it to be octagon-esque, you know, look different too. Do you think they'll do that?
I don't want to beat us in a ring. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think maybe since it's taped, they'll have it'll be split where they'll like kind of go it's opening from Huss. Okay.
Huss, man. I mean, we were just talking about that, how if you want to get those early viewers and really draw them in, that makes sense for that, but this is a main event.
After SmackDown.
Yeah, it's a main event quality match. But this is, if you don't open with this, then obviously I think in typical fashion, you should do, you know, the 6-man tag because you got some great high energy matches. But it's tough, man. I think this is going to be very unique and new and different, and it's going to be very exciting. But that goes back to like we talked about last time. Where do you like if we're getting these dreams, salivating one-off feuds, Inner Circle versus Pinnacle?
Yeah,
I don't see anyone from Inner Circle taking an L anytime soon, and that's just because I'm so geeked on them right now, and their momentum is so on their side. But at any given point, any team, any one person can trade losses and wins because all 10 of these guys are almost put on equals, in my opinion.
which makes it fun.
Right.
I think that anytime these guys have a match, it could go either way, which is cool.
Right.
There's such a good dynamic between everybody. Like if you're saying FTR and Proud and Powerful like against each other, those guys are arguably the two best tag teams in AEW, not named the Young Bucks. So
True.
you have
Of course.
like a lot of stuff that you could do with any of these guys. You know, obviously Sammy's a rising star. You have Sean Spears, who has kind of gotten the lower end of that whole thing with having to take the pin at the pay-per-view, but that guy's still a world-class traveled, top tier guy. So you have a lot of people that you could have some really cool matches, and any of them winning any of these matches wouldn't be a surprise, which makes it more interesting and fun.
Yeah, I mean, I said it and we continue to emphasize it. The Yahtzee dice, get a can full of Yahtzee dice and just throw them out and be like, okay, that's your match for the night. And so
I'd be fine with it.
It'll be a home run. I mean, when Dax and Jericho went 1-on-1, it was fantastic, man. The workhorsemen of the Pinnacle for sure. So, I mean, we're going to end just a little bit before Dynamite, so we still got some time, but we're going to run through the card, and I want to get your opinion on it. This one is an odd one because this is our first handicap match, and the Men of the Year cut some sick promo and to me, I mean, I picked them to win. Picked them to win at the pay-per-view, but it made more sense because the fans and sell out, yes, of course, but just for sake of pushing a new team and pushing a hot team that I really like to see, that's why I picked them at the pay-per-view to win. But there's no way the relentless daredevil Darby Allin is going to come out on top, in my opinion. I would love to see a Lance Archer come in and redeem and essentially save the day, because Lance and Darby would be pretty sweet to take down, because Lance already has had beef and kind of been involved in this. So what do you think's going to happen here?
I mean, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. I think there has to be some sort of interference here. You can't have, Darby get his butt kicked by two guys or have him beat two guys that you're trying to build as legitimate heels. It just doesn't make sense. So I was kind of surprised last week when he didn't pick a different partner. That's where I was really shocked. I was like, okay, what's the angle here? And I'm excited. This is actually one of the matches I'm most excited about because I want to see where they're going with it. I want to see the angle. I'm curious. Does Lance, make an appearance, or somebody else that we don't know, or Sting even makes what happens if Sting goes against his word here? That could cause some friction, and you could have some interesting stuff in that regard with the storyline. So there's a lot of stuff that could be going on. And again, that's why after last week where I was a little confused, I'm like, okay, I'm still bought in. I still want to see what happens, and I'm curious about it.
Yeah, and I think if there's that Sting element, I said on our recap show, it's maybe he can do dim the lights and make it snow, just kind of make his presence felt without being physically there. That could be something that could be done, but it's two guys, two pretty well wrestled, pretty strong guys versus Darby is a tough uphill battle. It's got to be some kind of twist there, and so I would love to see Lance Archer do it. I mean, I don't think there'd be another person that
makes sense right now.
That makes sense right now, absolutely.
Yeah.
The way you can book it like that. But
maybe somebody from Dark Order, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, you could see the Dark Order coming to save the day for sure. But I wanted to show you this because in the chat, thank you, me, for showing this. But VSK's Twitter, there it is.
That looks awesome.
The MMA cage, the low cage. I don't know if it's octagon shaped or not, but that's pretty cool. So thank you for pointing that out and letting us see this and sharing this on the show. But
fantastic.
Props to that. So next match I want to talk to you about is the Cody Rhodes and the debut of Brock Anderson. I wanted someone to say Mr. Anderson, the Anderson,
go full in on it.
Versus QT Marshall and Aaron Solo, man. How are you feeling about this one?
This is going to be fun. I actually talked about this match in my Booking by Bonds in my column last week. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, it's still up. The new one will be out tomorrow morning after the show. But this match, it's another one I'm excited about. One, obviously, it's always exciting when you have a new talent, especially somebody who's, from who's the son of one of the Four Horsemen, like somebody like that, where you have a guy who is like, we've been hearing about Brock Anderson for a little while now. Like he's been getting some hype on Twitter even before this debut. People are saying like, oh yeah, he's training like to be a wrestler and like, this is gonna be cool. And who knows what they're gonna do with this. But the factory again, they need to kind of stay hot. They had a rough couple of weeks, I would say. And last week they kind of had a little bit of a redemption with QT coming out and having some fun. But again, I think that you kind of have to show them in a strong light this week, especially against a guy that's making his debut. So, it could go either way. If they really think that it's a dead feud, then I think that Cody and Brock are going to take it home. Because then there's really no coming back. There's no coming back from losing to a rookie. So we'll see how they really feel about the factory going forward in this match. It's going to be very telling.
This is Bonds' article right here. I mean, it's amazing. If you guys haven't checked it, AEW Dynamite download.com, right on the homepage. You can read all about it, but definitely want to check it out. And then scroll to the bottom. There's a booking by Bonds as well. So subscribe to that. Check it out. It's posted. You can always find it on our Twitter as well. But yeah, I think you have to have the factory win here.
Yeah.
You have two guys, especially leading up to the South Beach strap match on July 7th between Cody and QT. So it would be fine if Brock, his debut to take the L. I mean, it doesn't no harm at all.
Right.
And I think QT's got to get the pin. He's got to look strong, giving him momentum. And then it's still hard to tell like what we're going to see after that strap match. Because anytime there's an element in play, anyone can win.
Right. You never know.
Right. You don't have to, it's not a pure wrestling match. So I think Brock, I'm curious to see what he's made of. Like, because honestly, we haven't seen him really do anything other than be in the fans and wear, a peach peach colored outfits that Crayfish likes to wear. He's definitely a peach kind of guy.
He looks like he should be teaming up with Ethan Page.
Yeah, frankly. The Men of the Year for sure. But this photo I saw online was so cool.
That is cool. Wow.
Really, yeah. I mean, history and history. I mean, I love how AEW is just, all about respecting their elders and respecting like the generations to come and just the family bloodline too. It's really cool. So this is a really cool photo.
Awesome picture.
I do think that QT Marshall will take the pin over Brock and then maybe even bring in some extra beatdown at the end and bring in the rest of the crew just to kind of re-emphasize their strength, re-emphasize their dominance, and try to give him some stuff for sure. I can't wait to see if he has a killer spinebuster, Scoot. So I don't know. He has to. If he's an Anderson, he has to have a spinebuster for sure. The next match is the only women's match on the card I want to talk to you about is Julia Hart versus Penelope Ford. I think these two, the little I've seen, Julia, I think these two are matched up very similarly with their styles. I'm excited. I have been a Penelope Ford fan. I do like her in-ring work and great Hurricane Rana. And so I think if you're going to push a fresh, young 19-year-old babyface, Julia's got to take the win. But Penelope, she's talented, man. I think she's very talented. So to her to lose to someone green, like, I don't know how you book this, but it's going to be entertaining. We got another fresh face, and somehow we got to have DMD tied into this. You always have to show your champ. I can't wait. Hopefully, I think they're waiting for the DMD once again to be live. Next week's show on Saturday night, live from Jacksonville, is going to be through the roof. I mean, all we know is the main event, but that's all you need to know. I mean, it's going to be explosive because they're going to have a live crowd, so they're not going to disappoint. So what do you think about this? I like the pairing of these three varsity blondes.
Oh, me too. I think that this is it was a smart addition to add Julia to Varsity Blondes. It makes a lot of sense, gives them a little more that they can do as well, especially with how crowded the tag division is in AEW. Is having, her in the women's division will help a lot with them just getting exposure. And just for this match specifically, like you said, these are both two talented young wrestlers who are going to be like in a good matchup. I think this is going to be fun. I really hope this isn't just a 6-minute picture-in-picture match like we've been getting in the women's matches.
Frustrating.
yeah, it's like you're trying to build your division and also handicapping your division. We all don't like that. So hopefully they kind of keep that clear, or just have a short commercial in this one, if they have one at all. Because we haven't really seen what's going to be announced for the promos. Yeah, they only usually do a couple of those. So hopefully this is like a big wrestling night where we have a lot of matches, not a lot of commercials or commercials between the matches. So we kind of can see things without losing a lot of it. And we still got to run this. We were talking about this last week about running a poll. How many of you guys actually watch through the picture-in-picture? Unless you're watching on Fight, obviously, if you're in Europe. But if you're watching, if you're watching AEW, do you guys watch through the picture-in-picture breaks? Because for me, I do, but it's also very hard to do that. The commercials are very distracting with like the difference in sounds, and it's loud.
The Venus, the Razor commercials.
Yeah, the Razor Blade commercials. I'm just like, man, I want to buy that product right now.
It's very hard for me to get invested through a commercial.
Right.
So even like especially when we see Jade in a ring, which is so rare. Sorry, I was just reading that. We did get confirmed that the cage match is going to start, which is awesome. Thank you, Huss. Thank you so much. But yes, the picture-in-picture is a time to get a refill or use the restroom. Like, I almost wish they didn't do picture-in-picture personally, just so we can not have to squint or not have to like not listen to anything and just kind of do like a quick recap. Like, WWE has done that in the past, or you're like, oh, while you're gone, they show like a couple replays of the big spots, because every match has those slow moments to kind of tell a story and regroup that could be missed. There's not matches where it's like every second is a must see, necessarily, especially maybe pay-per-view matches. Yes. But there could be sacrificed spots, commercial. But me personally, I prefer not to have picture-in-picture. If there was an option to, I wonder if down the line they option for like a premium service where, I mean, they probably make so much money on the ad revenue of that, so they got to do it. So it makes sense, but I would almost prefer not to have it. What about you?
I kind of feel the same way in a lot of ways. It's like not having the recap kind of hurts, because sometimes they'll have something happen and they usually try to say something, right? They usually try to say like, oh wow, this like because I remember I think it was last week or the week before when Team Taz came to the ring it was last week, because it was the Hobbs match with Cage, and Starks and Hook came to the ring during the picture-in-picture.
Right.
And Taz was like, oh man, during the break they came to the ring and all this stuff, and they had to say it because like the one big moment of the match again was during a commercial break. And it's like you guys need to kind of plan your spots a little better based on the commercials, like we've talked about, because that happened during the paper or the big match with Pinnacle and Inner Circle. There was a huge spot. Yeah, Blood and Guts. There was a huge spot or two that happened during picture-in-picture breaks, and it's like, if this is kind of like a pay-per-view ending to a show, you have to treat it like that and not have certain things happen when the vast majority of your fans either can't see it or aren't paying attention to it. Doesn't make sense to me. And again, would that have been better if we got to see the Wardlow stuff in that match on a replay? Like, oh man, look what Wardlow did when he came in and he fought 4 of them off, and then like did that, instead of having the whole thing on a small screen and then it not being emphasized at all.
Replay for sure, 100%. I think the replay would make it more. It brings you back in after a break. You can lose momentum on a break, which of course, I mean, this is the way it is. Whether it be a sports game or wrestling or anything, you get cooled off essentially as a fan. And to be like, we're back here at the cage. Yeah, we're here at the cage, and while we're gone, we saw Warlock. Like you can have Excalibur, anyone, just hype it up, and you're like, boom, your hair's sticking back up on your arms right away, and you're ready to finish off this match. So you need to do. I think they need to reassess that. Like, it makes so much more sense.
I like the thought of having the whole match on TV. I like that.
Yes.
But it doesn't work in practice in a lot of instances, because they don't treat what happened during the commercial break with excitement when you come back. It's not usually shown in the replay. I agree with that on the replays.
Yeah. So that is, I mean, this is just being overly critical, but it is because the placement of the commercials needs to be adjusted too. And there's a lot of matches that don't get the benefit of the doubt, and it's historically speaking the women's matches. So that's my only constructive criticism with the way they run Dynamite.
Right.
But other than that, I mean, they fit so much into such a short amount of time. It's
crazy
incredible.
2 hours.
Yeah.
Sure.
So Huss, I want to talk about that, real quick before we talk about the last two matches. But actually, let's talk about the big news of the video game, those kind of clips we saw of Darby Allin. Me personally, I'm not a big video game guy. I haven't been for a while, but I always enjoyed the WCW, NWO games, like N64 wrestling games, a lot of fun.
Classics.
And so, I mean, if you guys get this, and if I'm over at Crayfish's or hanging with you, if you guys have it, I'll definitely play it. But for me, and you guys out there, like, who are you excited to play as if you are to get the video game? Like, me as a video gamer, or, if I were to play video games and play you guys, I like to do, I mean, my favorite wrestler right now is Ray Phoenix. I love his in-ring stuff personally, but for video games, I want like a giant. So I'm picking Lance Archer. I want someone to be able to choke slam someone. I want to be doing that backflip walk off the ropes. Yeah, I want the big move and power moves. So I'm a big power move guy. And so I think it looks very excited to play. What about you?
Well, depending on how the game works, if it's anywhere similar to how the WWE games have been, where you can kind of showboat and stuff, I want to use the Young Bucks, man, because those guys are the biggest showboats in the world right now. And when I'm playing those wrestling games, man, I like to show off, do my thing, just go out there and win and
get some danglies.
I will load those guys up on danglies.
Right.
Like, it'll be crazy. And I want to get them as much crazy pops as possible. If I can change their outfits, I will make them look dumber than they've ever looked before, and they will appreciate it.
If that's even possible. Oh my gosh. So obviously, I mean, it goes without saying, Crayfish, who, if you guys are just joining us, he might not make it to this show. He's finishing up his dad's retirement party. Papa Cray, we cheers to him. Happy retirement. So, but Crayfish, of course, picked Pac, and he wants to make him the world champion, which he deserves. I think Pac is one of, if not the best wrestler in the world for sure. The guy is incredible what he does in the ring, and obviously the preparation that goes into the work ethic that he does is unmatched, really. And so I personally, obviously Pac would be really fun as well, but Lance Archer would be my guy. Like, for a female, that's a good thing you brought that up, Joseph. So a female wrestler, I didn't think about that. I think, I mean, if I'm doing like Hosses, obviously Nyla would be fun, but I think I would do a Thunder just because I like her aggression. I mean, she's got some aggression. She can do some power moves, also some ground holds, but like her corner move aggression, like the double knees and things like that, the drop kicks, like I think Thunder would be awesome to do that. And then it would be cool to like mess with her like face paint and her whole entrance and things like that. So I think as a video game, that would be fun.
I think Hirsch would be a lot of fun, Leela Hirsch, just because of her moveset.
True.
It'd be a real fun match with anybody, really. You could kind of go in there with, obviously they'd be talking about like, her skill set and in different size compared to most of the talent. She's unique, and I think that'd be a lot of fun in a game.
I know Crayfish should pick DMD for sure.
For sure.
You would just make her do promos all day and then just like
it would be 90 for he could control Dynamite. It would be like an hour and a half of promos with Britt, and then like have about a half hour of Pac in a match with a couple other people. It'd be like a 6-man match, and he would win, like beat everybody up by himself.
But speaking of, we'll go back to what you said, Haas. Like, what do you think? All right, so Andrade, we're going to hear from him. The second time we're going to hear from him. We can't wait to see this. So what do you expect out of this interview with the good old JR?
Oh, man, I'm excited for some direction here with Andrade. We're going to probably see like what's the game plan for him. Where is he going to be on the card? At least initially. Like, is he going to be kind of going after the TNT title? Is he going to be going after Kenny right away? There's a lot of things that could be in the cards here, or are we going to see nothing? Are we just going to kind of get to know him better as a new character in AEW? Because again, we're kind of basing it off of his WWE run for what we think he's going to do and what he can be. Of course. If they're going to completely change what he's doing, I think we're going to see a lot of differences in his personality tonight, which would be cool.
Yeah, I don't know what to expect. I really do. I like what you said. I really hope we do get some direction versus just kind of like, I'm here, I'm the best, which is, it's fine to say that for sure. But I wanted, why are you here? I like the why. Start with why, and so for him to be like, I'm here to take this, or I'm here to do that. That Miro did that. Miro, he's talked, his first promo day one was amazing.
Video game.
Yeah. So I want some direction with Andrade. I hope he gets, calls some people out, and gives us some excitement for maybe a first match. I think hopefully they'll say his first match is going to come up on next week's Dynamite. That awesome. Would be pretty cool too. So a match where, or our segment where we get direction plus in a match announcement, so it would be a home run for sure.
Oh, if we can get a match announcement, that would be the big one, because I want to see him as soon as possible when it's a live crowd. Like, that's going to be a big benchmark for him. Like, hey, man, we got a live crowd here. He's going to get that big pop, even if he's a heel, which we assume he's probably going to be. Like, that pop is going to be massive for a guy like him. Yeah,
I mean, it was a huge pop when they unexpectedly debuted, and it was awesome. Even if he is going to be a heel with Vicky or any whatever, I think deafening. Andrade versus Limelight would be great. I mean, we talked to him. I mean, when we interviewed him, if you guys haven't checked out our interview, please check it out. We interviewed Danny Limelight on Monday, and we asked him if he could team with someone in AEW. And I said, you can steal someone away or not. He was thinking about it. He thought about it long and hard if he could pick, and he picked Andrade. And so obviously, like, Santana Ortiz are his bros, but he wanted to pick someone who's not in a tag, and Andrade was. So that would be pretty cool. Maybe down the line.
Giving us a couple spoilers here. That'd be
right. Spoilers down the line. But this next, we got two more matches. Before we talk about this match, thank you guys for joining us. We got Dynamite starting in just about 24 minutes. Cheers to the weekend. Thank you for joining us at SPD and Bonds. Crayfish isn't here right now. He's finishing up his Pop's retirement party. But we will be on the Horn live tweeting and stuff. And our live show, I know it's early, but we try to get it out so we can start clipping it together and start tweeting it and getting some content out. We're doing a live show 9 a.m. back here on YouTube to recap a Friday Night Dynamite. So I got not as many of refreshments during this. So I'll be up and ready for sure.
Seltzer water.
Tonight. But I know you burned the midnight oil bonds to finish that article. So if you guys haven't checked out the article, our website, awdynamitedownload.com. Outstanding, will be up tomorrow as well. But as I was saying, I don't even know what I was saying.
The match right here.
We'll talk about this match. There's something else I wanted to say. But yes, Orange Cassidy versus Cesar Bononi. Oh, what I was going to say is, what do you think the main event's going to be? Is it going to be the 6-man tag we'll talk about next? Or since the cage match is leading things off, what do you see being the main event? Maybe the factory?
Man. It could be.
Because that's a special debut?
Maybe. It's tough because I thought the match that made the most sense as the main event was the cage match.
Sure, so, especially it being the marquee.
Right. Right. Especially with like the talent available in that match as well. I do think that makes sense, having the factory versus the Nightmare family as the main event, just because if they're trying to reignite this feud, which, I mean, on social media, we're pretty plugged in, and we've seen a lot of go away heat for this feud in general. So maybe it's like, hey,
there's a lot
kind
of
of reignite that. There's a lot of trolls, but a lot of people we talk to are kind of tired of it as well. So I think that they have to give this one throw it a bone here, give it a nice, like, good matchup too, especially if they want to showcase Brock a little bit to get him known for some fans as well. And plus, we haven't really seen a lot of Aaron Solo since he's been in the factory either. So it'll be cool to see him more so, because we've really seen a lot of like a Go-Go and QT Marshall. But we haven't really gotten to see a lot of Aaron. So that'll be a cool showcase for those two guys.
Definitely. So I think it's main event worthy. I mean, it is. It's a tough thing, close to midnight. You're ending close to midnight. For most people, that's pretty late. Even it's been a while since I watched WWE, but I know like that third hour of Raw sometimes can be hit or miss just because it's so late. Yeah, and that's 11. So to really capitalize on this first hour is going to be huge, and it makes sense. I think that's why they kind of analyzed maybe the last week's Friday night or the live one first, and then kind of saw the ratings and see where they they peaked and willowed and all that and stuff. But this match, I don't know what to expect of this, man. I mean, Orange Cassidy has been on such a roller coaster ride, high, low, anywhere in between. Like the booking, I love this. I love the main event with him and this little mini feud that we saw so short with Kenny Omega, and I almost wanted a rematch for a one-on-one.
Yeah,
and it would have been great. And so
then
all of a sudden it's just boom, over. Yeah, out of nowhere it's this, and nothing against the Wingmen because they're clearly on the rise. They're doing great stuff. They're making chicken soup out of chicken shits. That's what is a perfect example of guys that are essentially kind of like, what do you do with them? Putting them together, and it's working. And
it's working really well.
Right. And so I'm really happy for them. And it shows a lot to these guys, creativity and drive. And they're featured a lot on BTE and in interesting ways sometimes. But do you know how Cesaro got his black eye?
No.
Because he had like double black eyes. But, Orange Cassidy's got to get the win here. Obviously, I'm hoping for one day to Cesaro kind of get some momentum because he's a big guy, man. I mean, big guys shouldn't be losing this easily. Yeah, they shouldn't be getting knocked down this easily, big guys, personally. So does this set up a 3-on-3 best friends versus some of the Wingmen? That's for now. But it's just confused booking where they're going with Orange Cassidy, but it should make for a good segment for sure.
It'll be a good segment, but you're right. I don't really understand what they're doing with really Orange Cassidy more so than any of the other stuff, because it's like, he was just in the main event. I know that it wasn't the last match, but it was the title match of the pay-per-view. And he held his own in that match. It was a really good showing from him. So you kind of have him, you're kind of playing like, okay, so is he going down the card, or are you really saying like the Wingmen are kind of at that same level as the best friends? Is that what you're saying? It's
true.
It's tough. Like, so the Wingmen are really good, but they're new. They're a lot newer than the best friends, and they're not really established yet in terms of like wins and dominating, and they haven't really been featured on Dynamite. So you kind of have this weird dynamic of a team that isn't really featured on the show, on the marquee show, and you're against a guy that just was in the main event of a pay-per-view.
I know.
So it's just kind of weird. I don't get it.
Yeah, it was kind of a interesting booking. Like, but what are some? I mean, some would say Orange Cassidy is main event babyface quality, and he's shown he has been, but he's also shown he's not at the same time. Like, we quickly forget about him when he gets put into stuff like this, which is kind of frustrating. But when he gets elevated to a main event, to a feud with Jericho, all this stuff, like, he shows why the fans love him and why he's so good and why he's so likable. But they keep taking the foot off the gas and slamming the brake. It's like, what are you guys going to do?
They're going half in with it all the time.
It's frustrating. And as soon as they start doing touring, best friends are going to be so over, as we've said time and time again, even more than they were before. I feel like got to give the people what they want.
Exactly.
So it'll be what it is. What it is. But this last match we'll talk about is an interesting kind of mix, and I loved Frankie Kazarian's. I love Frankie Kazarian's new shirt, and I loved the name they called him, the Elite Hunter. And I thought that was very, very fitting. He's got his scruff going. He's got his new look. He's got the new shirt. The Elite Hunter is such a cool name. It's so cool. And this is kind of like, it's such a weird dynamic of all these six guys. And so I'm excited to see the Good Brothers get a little beat down. I'm excited to see Penta throw some mean chops at the Good Brothers. I think the Good Brothers are going to get, really kind of like show their over-the-top personality in this. Yeah. And we know Eddie is so over right now, and props to him. And I think Kazarian is going to just start to get more and more and more and more over, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So how do you book this one? I mean, do you have the tag team champs or half of the tag team champs take a second loss in a row?
Well, I think that you kind of have a chance for that just because you only have Matt Jackson in the match. We did see, didn't we see him lose a singles match when he was away from Nick?
Yeah. He lost to Pac.
Right. So we kind of already have that set up to where like the Bucks aren't really the same when they're not together. We've already seen that happen. So I think that if they're going to lose a matchup, this makes sense, especially because last week, it was Brandon Cutler taking the pin as well. So, I think that there's a lot of stuff that they could do with this one. It's going to be cool. And obviously, the Good Brothers aren't the champs anymore either on their end. So you kind of have that whole setup with the Elite. Are they going to ever kind of be pegged off of being elite? That's kind of where we've been wanting this to go at a certain point. Like, are they going to turn on Kenny? Is Kenny going to turn on them if they don't have the belts? Is Don Callis going to turn on these guys if they don't have belts? How you can't be the elite if you're not the champions. I also want to see some Alex interference. We got to see that before. So I can't wait to see those two managers like Don Callis and have those guys kind of do their own weird interferences because they always love doing that when they're involved in these matches.
Right,
so
for sure.
I think that'd be a lot of fun just in general. This might be the main event. Who knows? This is one that makes sense as well.
Yeah, I think so as well. It could, if you have more storyline to it. Like, what would you do, like, if the Good Brothers and Matt Jackson win and then start beating down? Do you have Pac come out and then does that just kind of like same thing, different show, or what?
That's tough.
But it's something I would like.
Or even have him and Mox come out. Maybe you start seeing like the whole like anti-elite team versus the elite. Maybe you kind of get a brawl. This might be a good brawl ending where you have like Kenny come out and Nick come out, and then you have Moxley come out, and you have Ray Phoenix maybe even come back, and you have some stuff where like, okay, now this is where we're getting like the line is being drawn in the sand where okay, now we kind of know where this feud is, where all these guys are against each other, and it can make for some fun. And you don't have to even be like a named stable. It can just be like, we want, like, you guys are annoying and we're tired of you kind of thing, which makes a lot of sense, especially because they're controlling, half of the belts in the company right now.
They're the elite collectors versus the elite hunters. So I liked how Excalibur, really do like the elite hunter. I can't say that enough.
It's cool.
Eddie is just on it, like I said, another level. Penta's placement in this, I mean, I guess it does make sense, his best friend, but I think you have maybe the Good Brothers and Matt Jackson take the victory, and then that just leads up to something else going up to the live event next week. So you can have the bigger pop when Eddie can get a victory or something like that. So, pick and choose your wins and losses. Yeah, maximize the pop, and that's what Mindrunner was saying. Booking by Bonds, which I know we talked about a little bit earlier in the show. Booking by Bonds for the New York show to maximize the pops. And so, how do you book the show? I mean, we talked about the Proud PNP coming out, getting a victory. That would be, I guess. I mean, we want to see PNP versus FTR sooner than later. To book that out 2 months from now would be too far, I think. Yeah. So PNP versus anybody with a pop, and Eddie with anybody would be a pop for sure. I even think you should open the show. You close the show with PNP and the Inner Circle standing tall in some aspect for that. I mean, this is just a quick booking, booking by SPD. Inner Circle, PNP and Inner Circle end the show in New York. Boom, fireworks, because they have an open air. They can be open air if they wanted to at the U.S. Open. You can start the show with the Acclaimed, who's by then I think is going to start to be getting some more and more support behind them. So you started off with that siren. Boom, the crowd is going to pop, and they're going to come out and roast everyone. And they almost do kind of like how like Elias turned and like all that stuff. So I think you're going to see it.
It's just going to be natural.
It's going to be a natural turn for sure. Yeah. If PNP wins the tag titles at the New York show, I don't think that roof would stay on, honestly.
that might be the perfect place for the Bucks to drop him too.
I mean, Crayfish and I were there in February when PNP and the Bucks faced off, and we were so ready, and I know our support online were so ready for them to take gold from the Young Bucks, and we almost thought it was going to happen, but it makes sense. Like, that would be a perfect time. I mean, I know the Young Bucks were kind of trolling stuff. trolling their bio, like if it sells out and we're not there or something like that. They said something ridiculous online about the New York show. But man, think about it. But obviously the hometowners, there's a lot of people. Do we have any female wrestler New Yorkers or New Jersey?
I have to think about that one. I don't know where.
I'm sure Mind Runner knows for sure.
Mind Runner, you know everything. Let us know who's from New York. Give us the rundown of New York is right there.
Right.
You should know, bro. You live in New York.
Well, I do, but I don't know.
Team.
I don't know any of the local talent other than Santana Ortiz, Danny Limelight, the Acclaimed, MJF. So MJF too. He's Long Island, so he's actually probably closer to this arena than PNP being in the Bronx. So I don't know in logistics, like because the arena is in Queens and Queens is part of Long Island. So.
Right.
Man, this is very intriguing. I really hope I can be there for this. Regardless, it's going to be an amazing show.
Because like again, this you're going to see a big crowd and a bunch of people psyched because there's a lot of they need to just be smart about it and book these guys that are from there. Like we need to see MJF because that the heat for him will be even more toxic in front of his hometown. Because
he's gonna just rip his hometown to shreds.
He'll be like, I left. He'll talk about how he left New York. He hates this place.
Right.
Oh man, the traffic is terrible. All this,
right.
He'll just go off. You just know how he is. He'll throw out some MJF coin for everybody. But then he'll go over. It's hard. He's got to do it right after it tanks.
Yeah.
Which who knows? Maybe it'll be the new cryptocurrency to own.
Gosh,
who knows?
Unbelievable. Can't believe it.
Hilarious.
All right, so we'll throw up the match card. We're going to end a few minutes early so we can get some prepped. We'll be live tweeting online. But once again, thank you guys for joining us for this preview show. We're going to be live again tomorrow, 9 a.m. I know it's early, but to do a recap, but all the videos and clips will be on our YouTube channel shortly after that. And Bond's article will be live on our website, AEWDynamiteDownload.com. So if you definitely check that out, and stay tuned to our Twitter for updates when that goes live. We will post it out on the Twitter that it will be live for sure. But, we will be we'll probably do maybe like a midweek type of show, maybe some kind of special night because we have all the way till Saturday till the next live of Dynamite. So 8 days away. We got
fights or something.
Yeah, maybe we'll do like a Whiskey Wednesday or a Wrestling Whiskey Wednesday at WWW or I don't know, something. We'll figure something out. So we can, interact with you guys and have some fun while we're all anxiously awaiting the next live Dynamite show. So we'll think of that. We'll brainstorm. But just looking at this card again, I mean, we heard from Huss and our fans out there. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for giving us the inside scoop while we're streaming live. That the cage match is going to be the first one to kick off things, and we can't wait. I mean, if you guys saw the Road to, it's definitely got us all excited, and it could go either way. And this is AEW continuing to push the envelope, and just another example of them pushing the envelope. And I can't wait for this show. And for, this is it, man. From looking at the calendar, I think no more tape shows on schedule. I think we're going live, baby. So
about time. I can't wait.
We are light at the end of the tunnel. So it's all live from here, man. So enjoy the show, everyone. We'll chat with you guys on Twitter. And please sure to tune in tomorrow or check out our recaps later on our YouTube on the pages. But thank you guys. Bonds, any last words?
Just enjoy the show.
What is one
everybody.
bold prediction?
Bold prediction? Oh,
one bold
man.
prediction for tonight.
Oh, wow. Good. Man, you throw me on the spot here. I'd love to see Benoni beat Orange Cassidy just because we like Cesar a lot. He's a good guy, and it'd be really cool to see him get the win on Dynamite, especially in a match that we weren't expecting. That'd be a really cool moment for him. So if that happens, it'd be great. But everybody enjoy the show. We can't wait to talk to you guys about it tomorrow in the column and on our Dynamite Download Live. So Crayfish will be back for that. The party's not going to go into the morning, so you guys will get to see him tomorrow. And we can't wait to talk to you guys later.
Thank you, guys. Marco will turn heel eventually, and you will be happy in a set man. We know you want to play him in the video game. We talked about that earlier, but thank you guys so much. Marco's stunt heel is on the rise. It's coming soon, but we will talk to you guys soon, and then get ready. Light the fuse.
Light the fuse, everybody. See ya.